This is a book about how to excel in sales. The title is Flip the Script, Getting People to Think Your Idea is Their Idea. When talking about sales, you might immediately think of some standard sales techniques, such as offering a limited time 30% discount ending tomorrow, stating it's the last one, implying scarcity with phrases like, if you don't buy it now, it'll be gone, or suggesting urgency by saying, someone else is interested and waiting for my call, and so on. These tactics aim to pressure consumers into making quick decisions. These techniques might have been effective about 10 years ago because people had limited access to relevant information. However, in today's age, people can efficiently conduct product research online, compare prices, and have many products to choose from. Consequently, high-pressure sales tactics are less effective than before. This book teaches us that it's challenging to use pressure to drive customer decisions in this era of information overload and abundant choices. The central concept emphasized is that goods are not sold, instead, they are bought by customers. In other words, the focus of sales should be to activate the idea of the customer actively engaging in the transaction, feeling the need for the product, and willingly deciding to buy it. But what's the value of this book for those not directly involved in sales? If you perceive sales only in the context of selling products, you're narrowing its scope. In fact, in our daily work and life, we engage in sales almost every day. Convincing someone means selling your viewpoint. Presenting a project to a client is selling that project. Proposing a plan in a meeting is selling that proposal. Therefore, sales here don't solely refer to products, but also include concepts, strategies, projects, etc. It applies to various communication and expression scenarios. In the forthcoming presentation, the examples you'll hear won't be limited to product selling. You'll also encounter instances of presenting viewpoints and introducing projects, providing diverse examples. The author of this book is an American named Oren Klaff. He's the director of capital markets at Focus Capital, an investment bank. Under Klaff's management, Focus Capital rapidly integrated neuroscience into capital market operations and fundraising, and the company's growth has been substantial, currently managing assets worth $250 million. The neuroscience discussed in this book revolves around how to use the operational principles of the human brain's nerves to activate the idea of the other party engaging actively in the transaction, effectively selling what we intend to sell. Around this theme, Klaff provides the book's theoretical methods and practical guidance. It has received a highly favorable market response since its publication. In today's discussion, we'll specifically focus on activating the idea of the other party engaging actively in the transaction, following 3 steps to excel in sales. These 3 steps are certainty transfer, capturing interest points, and leveraging novelty. Let's delve into each step one by one. First, let's delve into the initial part. In every sales scenario, the foremost thing to do is deliver certainty to the prospect. It means making the other person feel that you are reliable and trustworthy. Human beings have a shared trait, seeking certainty amid uncertainty. For instance, faced with fluctuating stock market prices, people strive to formulate various theories and experiences to predict market trends. Similarly, when confronted with complex historical business data, individuals often delve deeply to derive patterns from the information. These actions represent the pursuit of certainty within uncertainty. In transactional scenarios, there is an unconscious search for certainty. For instance, we prefer to pay upon receiving the product to feel reassured. In online shopping, we rely on third-party payment platforms like PayPal to withhold payment until the product arrives, establishing a sense of certainty. However, in many contemporary sales scenarios, buyers often experience uncertainty. If you are promoting a new concept, company, or service, you can't guarantee immediate delivery. Even during sales, you might need help to showcase the company's advantages, service, or concept entirely. These factors create uncertainty in the sales environment, making people instinctively uncomfortable. Thus, the first step in almost all sales situations is to provide certainty to the other party. But how do we deliver this certainty? Is it about showcasing more details or comprehensive information? The author tells us it's about more than just flooding the other party with more information. Instead, the key is to demonstrate your expertise. In this era of information overload, people needn't more information, they need sufficiently knowledgeable individuals to help filter and guide them through the information. Consider a scenario where a person has developed a skin rash that won't subside. They visit a doctor who provides reassurance despite needing to understand the medical jargon fully. The patient might not understand everything said, but they will likely feel at ease because the doctor sounds professional. This highlights the importance of projecting professionalism to establish trust and certainty in the sales environment. To showcase your expertise, you can keep all your knowledge of the sales at hand private. Instead, craft a well-designed, 200-word script and perform a mini-act to achieve the desired effect. The author shares a real-life story about a sales director named Heather, who was highly intelligent and well-versed in the product she was selling. Despite her excellent communication skills, her sales could have been higher. Upon consultation, the author realized the issue: Heather's appearance, resembling a sophisticated corporate professional, didn't align with her target users, mainly men working in logging fields. Her appearance didn't instill confidence or trust in the logging professionals, resulting in low sales. To rectify this, the author helped Heather devise a 200-word speech. It contained numerous technical terms and figures, although most people, including seasoned logging executives, might need to comprehend them fully. The goal was to swiftly and vividly demonstrate professionalism to instill trust. This short speech, recited at an accelerated pace within 60 seconds, further enhanced Heather's professional image. However, the author emphasizes that this isn't about memorizing sophisticated lines or pretending to be an expert. The key lies in efficiently and effectively displaying existing expertise relevant to the specific audience and breaking through particular barriers. In practical application, we must adapt our approach to suit various situations. For instance, if you're a young doctor facing an elderly patient insistent on consulting an older doctor, reciting technical information may not be effective. Instead, gentle listening and patient explanations yield better results in conveying confidence in your expertise. To sum up, in many sales scenarios, the first step is to deliver certainty to the other party, and one effective method is through a script that exudes professionalism. So, after delivering certainty, the author suggests that you should immediately grasp the other party's points of interest. At first glance, capturing someone's interest might seem challenging because individuals vary significantly. How could one know the interests of the person in front of them? When posed with this question, the author consulted several outstanding psychologists. Surprisingly, they all gave a unanimous response. While individuals' interests may appear different on the surface, a standard set of information receptors exists at the deepest level of the human brain. 3 types of information most quickly pique these receptors. The first type of information is danger signals. Throughout history, people have automatically paid attention to data that might threaten their survival. Primary examples include weather changes, food shortages, political upheavals, disease outbreaks, and, in the business world, economic fluctuations, technological disruptions, policy changes, and more. In sales, we can also use danger signals to capture the other party's attention. The author summarizes the core of this information as winter is coming. In essence, not buying a particular product or not accepting a specific idea could threaten one's survival. An example from Microsoft illustrates this concept. In 2014, Satya Nadella took over as CEO and had to sell a viewpoint to all 131,000 employees that Microsoft's focus must shift from the Windows operating system to cloud computing. Nadella employed danger signals as his primary argument to make the employees accept this viewpoint. He solemnly informed the entire company that the Windows operating system was no longer profitable and that information searching was now good. Computers were declining, and mobile devices dominated. People no longer bought software, they rented it, and everything moved to the cloud. If Microsoft didn't swiftly shift its focus from Windows to cloud computing, the company's future would deteriorate, leaving everyone freezing in the approaching harsh winter. After the speech, Microsoft quickly unified, shutting down the smartphone department, moving Word and Excel programs to the cloud, and investing vast amounts to establish global cloud computing data centers. All this was achieved in just 3 to 4 years. By 2018, Microsoft's stock price had tripled, and international media hailed the information giant, previously considered obsolete in 2014, as once again the center stage player. Microsoft's swift transformation was fueled by its sense of impending crisis, realizing the risk of market elimination. Nadella's speech implanted this sense of crisis in the minds of company members, facilitating smoother subsequent changes. In summary, all such winter is coming stories aim to tell the audience to prepare ahead. The current prosperity will eventually fade faster than they anticipate. The author mentions that stories like these can be shared with people from any industry. In practice, the author never tells clients that their product is better than their existing product or that their plan is superior. Instead, they say, "We all know the entire industry is transitioning, and this plan can help you survive successfully in the new arena." Such statements always manage to pique the other party's interest successfully. As the book states, whoever clearly understands the future is the most critical person in the conference room. So, that's the conclusion of discussing the first type of information that can quickly capture the other party's interest: danger signals. Let's talk about the second category, substantial returns. This is relatively easy to understand. People tend to gravitate quickly towards substantial returns and are interested in things that promise them significant gains. You might say, when I'm selling, I'll tell the other party what returns this thing can bring them. Do I need to explain that? Please note what we discussed earlier is substantial returns. That means the returns you offer must reach a certain level to capture the other party's interest. What level is that? The book provides a clear answer: it's double. Only when you inform the other party that what you're selling can at least double something they care about, such as doubling efficiency, doubling scale, doubling happiness, and so on, will their information receptor in the brain light up, suddenly piquing their interest. The number 2 comes from the author and his team's extensive practical experience and research cases. For example, every year, smartphone manufacturers release many new models. However, consumers keep their phones the same because the performance upgrade of new models usually isn't substantial. Consumers often wait several years to get a new phone because they believe that's when the new phone will have significant changes. The same applies to buying cars. People keep cars the same every year when a new model comes out because a 10% performance improvement isn't enough to impress consumers. The author and his team found that when a new car's performance aspect is usually enhanced by 100%, consumers are more likely to consider changing their vehicle. Similarly, if a new smartphone doubles in storage space or resolution compared to the old phone, the users of the old phone will be more willing to buy the new one. In summary, double is a magical number. If it's less than that, people's information receptors won't activate, and even an 80% improvement won't immediately capture their attention. Therefore, when selling, we need to emphasize areas that can achieve a double effect, such as 100% revenue growth, doubling efficiency, subjective comfort, and smoothness. Conversely, it could reduce costs by half, having failure rates, etc. All these demonstrate the principle of doubling. Next, discuss the third category, fairness and trustworthiness. But nobody likes to be taken advantage of. Therefore, everyone's information receptor has a pre-installed anti-fraud alarm. They might become suspicious and withdraw if they don't find something that reassures them in your pitch. Conversely, if you provide something that reassures them, they'll quickly pick up on it. So, how can you make the other party feel reassured? The author suggests letting them know that you have made a significant investment in what you're selling. For instance, if you're selling office software, you can show the other party that your entire team is using this software. Or, if you're presenting a project to investors, you can reveal how much you've invested personally in this project. If something goes wrong with the project, you'll suffer significant losses financially, in time, and reputation. Statements like these can be termed as investment declarations. Because people are always unconsciously attentive during transactions, they're susceptible to such investment declarations. They'll be more willing to make the deal once they perceive that both parties are in this transaction together as a unified entity. So, what we've just discussed are the three types of information that can most quickly capture the other party's interest: danger signals, substantial returns, and fairness and trustworthiness. You'll notice that these three types of information correspond to the three questions the other party is most concerned about at the beginning of a sales pitch. 1. What's in it for me? You can use danger signals to address this question by informing them about imminent risks. 2. What benefit do I get? You can utilize the twofold effect for this question and show them substantial returns. 3. Why should I work with you? Here, you can employ investment declarations to make the other party perceive you as a trustworthy stakeholder. The other party's interest is piqued once you use these three types of information to answer these three questions. At this point, when you present the details of your product, concept, or project, they'll be more willing to listen and accept it. Next, let's discuss how to present what you want to sell. When selling, many people highlight what makes their product different, innovative compared to the past, or groundbreaking compared to what's expected in the market. In short, they emphasize how unique and different their product is from the rest. However, the author tells us this approach is inappropriate because it can scare away users. Why does this happen? The underlying principle is that while people like novel things, novelty also implies risk. Therefore, excessively emphasizing novelty can make people feel insecure. The most preferred by people is something with a moderate level of novelty. It should largely resemble conventional things, but have some novel aspects. This mindset isn't the author's subjective perception, but is scientifically supported. As early as 1951, psychologists discovered that the exploration behavior of animals towards new things changes depending on the novelty of those things. Initially, as freshness increases, animals tend to explore new things more. When freshness reaches a moderate level, the likelihood of animals exploring new things peaks. Afterward, it gradually decreases. In other words, mammals' brains like things to be novel, but not excessively. If something is too unknown, they can't understand it and don't know how to deal with it. For instance, consider a squirrel frequently foraging in the park, picking up potato chips from tourists. One day, it discovers a flashy packaging bag resembling potato chips. Initially, it might observe from a distance of 1.5 meters, stand up on its hind legs to think for a moment, cautiously approach, and suddenly flee when it hears a noise nearby. This process repeats several times before the squirrel bravely enters the bag and puts its head inside. However, if it were a cake, something it had yet to see before, it might not approach. The process of humans encountering new things is very similar to the squirrel's behavior. After millions of years of evolution, this behavioral strategy has been deeply embedded in the genes of almost all mammals. Although people instinctively gravitate towards new things, they'll move away to feel secure if they perceive something as excessively novel. The result is that a moderate level of novelty makes people feel most comfortable. How can we ensure that the introduction of our project aligns closely with a moderate level of novelty? The author provides a method called the novelty module. If a project has many novel features, group them and categorize them as a single unit. Then, tell the other party that the project conforms entirely to industry norms and established practices apart from a specific key aspect. For example, consider Microsoft Word, the dominant word processing word software. If you want someone to abandon using Word documents and switch to another new collaborative word processing software, how would you convince them? Firstly, let's discuss the wrong approach. It involves emphasizing extensively how different the new software is from Word, for instance, starting by bombarding the other party with innovative points about the latest software, such as being able to load documents directly on a web page without requiring downloads or installations, storing all files in the cloud, retaining edit history, enabling multiple simultaneous document edits, and adding comments within documents. This kind of introduction can easily scare people off because it elevates the novelty of the product too much. It might sound like an entirely new software, and many might hesitate, thinking, I'm fine using Word now. Do I need to adapt to something new? Now, let's consider the novelty module approach. Firstly, emphasize the similarity of the new software to Word. You can highlight that it's user-friendly, has a simple interface, and includes valuable features like rulers, toolbars, spell checks, word count, reviews, etc. Then, after discussing these features, introduce the novelty module by mentioning that the key difference lies in being a cloud-based software. Explain the benefits of cloud documents. After presenting this information, expand on the long list of innovative features without scaring the person away. In summary, the latter approach consolidates all the product's innovative points into a single module and begins by reassuring the user about the existing product's goodness, user-friendliness, and compatibility. It then emphasizes the new product's uniqueness, indicating its future development path. The principle behind the novelty module is to limit the perception of risk areas to make it seem like there's only one risky aspect, aligning well with people's preference for a moderate level of novelty.